Hi everyone, I'm Robert Linkle, owner of Be Stronger Fitness and trainingtheolderadult.com. And this is a short webinar. I want to bring some information about our cool down process that we do with our older adults. Really, we call it a cool down and mobility work because it's basically one more opportunity for me to get a little bit more work out of my clients when they get done, but it's not high intensity loaded, anything like that, where they get to work on some coordination, mobility, fascia release, that kind of stuff as we go. So I'm going to show you just a couple of my favorites as we go through. This is part of a webinar series I've been doing all year long. We have 1 2-hour webinar every month as we go along. In a couple of cases, I run out of time, and so I have a couple things that I want to do a little bit extra information on. So that was inspired by this. This is one of the slides, not this one in particular, but one of the topics here. Is one of the areas that I ran out of time a little bit on last time. So I wanted to detail it a little bit more, but it's based off of our blueprint program design here for training the older adult. And we kind of classify them as 50 and ups, although everybody is a different ability biologically, not just necessarily chronological age. So again, just kind of generalizing 50 and over. We have our 6 pillars of strength, balance, and implement tracking, hinges, presses, rows, split stance, and loaded carries. And so after our full workout of addressing at least one of those as we go through, which you can definitely hear more about in other webinars that I host, this is some of the cool down mobility work that we do. These are the 5 common practice issues in our industry that we're facing today. A huge reason why I like to give these little webinars away for free is to inspire and teach others what we can do with older populations, and these common practices that our industry has just kind of started doing, and people do because it's how that's been done, really do need to change. So some of the big ones we see, older adults can't lift anything heavy, and usually we see that around 30 pounds. They shouldn't press anything over their head. And most exercises they do, they need to be seated to do that. Can't do any power training because they might get hurt. And then we're definitely not allowed to leave them alone to their own device to do anything unsupervised. So these are common practices that I want to help kind of blow up and change the minds of individuals as we go through. All right. I'm going to move the camera angle here in just a second, so it'll be down. I will be moving it around as I get up and down off the floor a little bit, but we're going to kind of chop our way through these. I'm going to put all of them up because I don't have my remote with me today, but we're going to go one by one here. Oops. Go one by one as we go through. So the seated abductions. This is one that I stole from Brett Contreras. Almost all this stuff, stuff that I have borrowed, quote unquote, stolen from other trainers. You see how well prepared I am. I already had my band on. So back in college, I had this great instructor named Rodney Imamura, and my favorite teacher of all time. He was a stuntman in the movies. He was the guy that got thrown. He was great about biomechanics and anatomy, and he was fantastic at getting thrown. And he talked about all these levers and these different angles, and so I feel like I learned so much more than like the average person would learn, the average personal trainer, that is for sure, on levers and biomechanics and such. So one of the things that really stuck with me, though it's not a lever action necessarily, is something called active insufficiency. Mike Boyle put out an article not too long ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, that kind of addressed this topic a little bit. So in the hip flexors, you have quite a few of them in there, but we're going to look at, let's say, the rectus femoris and your psoas muscle and so on. As I stand up, if this is, let's just say, my rectus femoris, as I stand up, this band gets taut. And that rectus femoris muscle is taut, and it's active, and it's ready to fire. And as I'm ready to contract and pull with it, it's on stretch, so it's ready to contract. It's ready to fire. It's its maximum prime position to activate. And then as I go into a seated position, it kind of goes on slack because the muscle origin and insertions are getting closer together. Now, if I'm on slack, seated like I am now, and I continue to lean forward, I'm putting this muscle in a position that's less efficient. And then when I try to activate it, that's where we get the term active insufficiency. So you're actively trying to contract a muscle that's in an insufficient position. So that's why the order of this exercise is really cool to do. It's the seated abduction. We do up to sets of 40 with our clients. So we'll start people with like 20 or so. Sitting up nice and tall. My feet are even shoulder width apart. I'm going to lean forward maybe 15 degrees, 2 or 3 inches, however you want to cue it. And then I'm going to start my abductions from neutral, out, neutral, out, neutral, out. And so I'll start about 15, 20, 30 of those, whatever you want to go up to. So at the point while I'm at my freshest, my actively insufficient rectus femoris, I know this is an abductor activity, but I'm just using that as an example. as I'm in this hinge position, it's at its most weak position to activate. I know that's a terrible terminology, but I'll do my 30. And then as I sit up straight, let's say 0 or 90 degrees here, okay, so I'm upright, and I do another 30, it's a little bit more of an efficient position to contract it because it takes a little slack out. So I'll do 30 of those. And now as I'm getting tired and I'm in my most efficient seated position and my musculature is tired, I'm able to do these guys abductors, then 20, 30 of them, whatever reps I'm going to do. So I'm going to start in my most inefficient position, but while I'm fresh. And then as I fatigue, I'm going to get to a little bit more efficient position and then the most efficient position. So we always want to do this one in that order to kind of maximize our abilities there. Least efficient, a little better, best, fresh, tired, most tired, okay? So those are our abductors, or we call them the 120s because we'll do 40, 40, 40, take a break, and then we'll do that again, okay? Next one in here, and again, that's an abduction, glute medius minimus, pretty good activation there. All right, our next one, lacrosse ball series. Move this guy up a little bit so you can see me. A lot of variations you can do this one on. Love doing this at the end because the clients are tired, and so they really have to focus as they go through. We'll have them stand on one foot, balance on one, or we'll have them in line or staggered, whatever position we can put them in. We can put them on a balance pad, barefoot. We can put them on a balance pad with their shoe. We can put them on the floor barefoot, on the floor with a shoe. So whatever challenges you want to put them through there. We'll do it with eyes open. We'll do it with one eye closed, but we add the term pirate to whatever it is. Pirate lunges, pirate step-ups, pirate little cross ball drills, and that just means close one eye. So we're working on some spatial awareness and balance components by taking away half of one of our sensories there. So we get on one foot, and we start what we call a scoop catch. Drop, and we scoop catch. Scoop meaning I'm getting under the ball, and I have to track where it is and anticipate that it's going to fall into my hand. And once they kind of get that down, then we'll go to a strike catch, or a throw and strike at the ball. And I want them to practice being aggressive and striking at something. So if we're going to do, 120 of these, 40 of each one, we might do, 10 where we scoop catch and then 10 where we strike, and then we'll switch. Our favorite ones is the 20-20-20. So we'll do 20 right to right on the same foot. We'll do 20 left to left, and then we'll do 20 crisscross where we're switching. And then we'll have them switch feet. 20 left, 20 right, 20 crisscross. Okay, again, any of those variables that you have on a pad, shoe, shoeless, eye closed, whatnot. Okay. Basic calf pumps, we'll do them against a post on one foot, doing a single leg calf pump. We'll have them do doubles. We'll do donkeys where their hands are here and they're sticking their butt up in the air. And it gets a little pre-stretch on them. We can do them on the floor as well. So you have those options. Band raise the roofs. Another one that I stole from Brett. Brett has just fantastic content when it comes to glute and hip development. So you have the band around the knees, you're down in your 6-point position on the floor, and then you're gonna have one heel pumping up towards the ceiling. I already took my band off, so I'm just gonna show you this one without the band. Get you in position here so you can see me. Okay, so I'm in my 6-point position here, pulling one heel up, and I'm gonna pump this guy up towards the ceiling. We call it a raise the roof. It's just better than saying, 6-point or quadruped glute extension with a 90-degree flexion of yada, yada, yada. So we'll get them in that position there. Another one that we do here on the floor, I got this from Dan McLean, one of our physical therapists, or our only physical therapist, I should say. Hands through the band, palms are up, elbows pinned to the floor, and then you're pulling apart. We call these no monies, okay? So that's a great one. I love doing it on the floor because it pins their elbows down and really makes sure, a little bit better there, really make sure they're keeping them anchored down at their side. When they stand, client stands and they start to do these, they can start to get a little tired. The next thing you know, the arms start moving and they're using their deltoids to help them, or it turns into just a fly or bad bicep curl as they start going. So pin those elbows to the floor, get a good pull apart. The abductor clams laying on your side. We just like to do it with 2 bands. So we have one above the knee, one below, keeping their heels together as they open the knees there. Post hinge and hold, and then band fire hydrants. I'll do the fire hydrants while I'm down here. So one more down here. Again, the band just around the top of the knees. Okay, so we're in position here. Toes are tucked. I'm going to use together, pull apart out to the side. And as we go, really common practice we'll see on this, rotation in the back, and they're heaving to get their leg up as high as they can, just over recruiting from their back. Really want to make sure you're anchored in here. Nothing's really moving except for the glute active to help you get this guy up there. Again, another actively insufficient position for some individuals as they get better at contracting, especially against that band. And they'll really get a good glute-focused, non-back assisted activation there. Our last one, I'm going to move you here one more time. For our older adults that have issues with their shoulders, we call this a post. Make sure you can see me okay. Post, shoulder height, hinge, and hold. See me okay there, good. So we'll have them hold this position here for a little bit. I like them to be active and push into the sky. If you're too far away and you come down, you do get a really good stretch, but your body's leaning, so you do have a tendency to be a little bit more active. I want them to be passive at some point during this. If I'm too close, I can't hinge. Now I have to hang on or else I'm going to fall over. So there's a sweet spot that you want to find. Active push, active push, active push. And then once I get here, ideally my ear to my bicep, okay? I'll try to relax and just let my lat stretch, pec, bicep tendon, tricep, long head, all this. Let it all stretch, and then I'll return. To increase the stretch, basically I can just move my hand up a little bit, or I could back up a tiny bit, but again, I don't want to get too far away. Nice deep hinge, bicep to ears, my goal. I'm active and I'm pushing, and then at the bottom, I'm going to relax and try to get a nice passive stretch. Return. Can do this with both hands as well. So, maybe 1 or 2 sets on the right, 1 or 2 on the left. And then I'll come down with both. I like to do the little thumbs wrapped around. We call it a choke grip. So they're reaching in here, choke in there, come back, get a good nice stretch, actively pushing, and then relax. Let them feel that stretch and return. This one feeds into our post press, that active post, press, push, actively pushing, actively reaching, really teaches good engagement there of the shoulder to help those 2 shoulder blades balance and work together. Okay. Hopefully you enjoyed this information. I know they're short and quick, but I want to make sure I can cover all this content and share some things with you. These are kind of routine-based movements that our clients experience usually once a week. Most of our clients come in 2 to 3 days a week. So they'll see, 2 or 3 of these at the end of each workout. Ideally, we list them as optional, but ideally we want them to stay and do these. And there's some that I make a priority. We'll even write on the board of, leave me 3 minutes for sure at the end of the workout before you have to hard stop. Meaning like I have to leave at 8, I'll say stop at 7:55 so we can get over here and make sure we get these in. So if I have something that's that important, I'll program that in there for them. But these are ones that when they see them on the board, they might need another cue or 2, but for the most part, they know them pretty well. I want that in my movement prep and my mobility, and my cool down, my mobility, flexibility, fascial release exercises. I want them to a point where they are routine, where the client knows them, where it's not changing constantly, not like our workouts where they need coaching and cueing and, reminding every day of how to do the exercises. I want that cognitive new learning sensation on the things that are going to really help get them better and things that I need consistent delivery over and over again from them. I want to have the exact same thing for the most part up there every day. So movement prep isn't movement prep for strength training, it's movement prep, period. Our movement prep routine, which will be another webinar of this, is basically designed to, you can go golfing afterwards, you can go ride your bike afterwards, you could lift weights afterwards. It's just movement prep, and that's why we call it that. It's not a warm-up, it's movement prep. When the movement prep is over, then we do a warm-up. Now we're talking about physically getting the body warm to go and do this stuff. So on the cool down, I want to have some consistent cool down or mobility work at the end that allows my client to, yes, bring their temperature down, but also through a day of hard work and, pushing their bodies to a point, we still have a few more things that they need to address specifically to help them continue to improve. So we find consistency there, okay? Articles, webinars, YouTube page, anything else that I can share with you, take a look on here. If you see something you like, let me know. Just give me a holler. I'll send some things to you. Our new website, trainingtheolderadult.com. We have in-person 2-day live clinics that are coming up through the rest of this year. And we're hoping to get out of California next year and move around and travel a little bit more. But we're doing one here in Be Stronger Fitness in Sacramento. And I have a couple more in Southern California coming up later on in the year. These are basically 2 days of us going through the 6 pillars of strength, all the programming, how we do that, and then a 90-minute hands-on component to each one, 60 to 90 minutes, depending on the topic. where I show you like our favorite 10 to 12 exercises of each one, how to coach them, how to personalize them for the older adult. So check that on our website. We have all of our webinar series on there as well. We're coming up to webinar number 7, budgeting considerations for opening a studio, if that's something that you do, and why we picked what we picked, how we set it all up for the older adult, and so forth. Remember, you could join us as late as December, and we will send you the previous 11 webinars and all the PDFs and all that to you. You get to save it all to your computer. It's yours forever. So you can join us at any time. It's never too late. Hop on there, register. We'll send you everything, and we'll get you going. This is my personal information, my personal cell phone, email, our website. I'm here to help you get better. The better that you are, the better collectively we all are as a profession, but the more we get to help individuals that we're working with. This is a demographic that young rookie trainers are very nervous about working with. They're afraid of hurting the client, afraid of doing the wrong thing that doesn't help them get better or cause more pain, and they don't feel like they have the credibility to be there. So anything that I can do to help you learn more about your craft, learn more about your demographic, to get better, to deliver better products, to help you work with these older pops as they go, I'm happy to do so. I do have 2 businesses and 2 girls and my wife and our life that goes on, so it might take me a little bit to get to you, but I will get back to you, I promise. I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. Take care.